Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing a lovely Tudor Submariner. This is a 9411 with a serial number of approximately 846,000, so roughly 1976. A delightful glimpse back into the era when Tudor and its big brother Rolex shared cases and bracelets, and this one is strapped with Rolex gear in both respects. It's also a wonderful window into the past, a kinder, gentler era of dive watches. 39mm in stainless steel. The timepiece is chunky because of its dramatically box-profiled plexiglass. 13.4mm thick, still slim enough to fit underneath most dress cuffs. Now we're going to get a little bit closer, pay attention to some of the details, and you can see that the 13.4mm thick case across the wrist stretches a very manageable 47.5mm. So I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13 centimeters circumference. Once again, my wrist 16 centimeters circumference. The timepiece is easy to wear. It has a lovely vintagey Rolex rattle, but a modern 20mm spacing between the lugs. So if you want to put it on a contemporary strap or different bracelet, it's broadly compatible. The bracelet that's fitted is a correct vintage Rolex folded link 7836, features 380B end links. You can see the folded profile of the links themselves, as well as the general Oyster layout of the links. This is an Oyster bracelet. It is of Rolex construction. You can see underneath the end links, as well as the code for the bracelet. You can see back then, Rolex case blazoned on the flank, Rolex triplock crown blazoned on the flank, and the clasp featuring one more Rolex crown. You can also just see how sharp the definition is and how much original metal is left on both the bracelet, clasp, and case. I should also mention that there are a few incremental adjustments to be made internally, so you can move the anchoring point, but the difference between this and the 9315 that was also spec'd on this model is that that model has a flip-out dive extension. This one, nevertheless, features a secure closure. You can hear it's still a crisp snap when you close it. The tolerances remain excellent. You can also appreciate the fact that the case itself is full. Now there's no protrusion of the spring bar through the end of the lug, so no evidence of excessive refinishing. You can see in profile that there's plenty of metal on both sides, and that even a little bit of the evidence of the original factory beveling remains intact. And you can see that at all four corners, not just one or two. The crown guard structure fully intact, still well defined, and while the watch does have its original bezel, it looks like it's clearly featured a factory service bezel insert at some point. It is a glossy blue, almost purple metallic, and because this is a vintage Tudor diver, it is bidirectional. It moves quite smoothly. This one has been well maintained. The first thing I notice on a poorly kept dive watch from this era is generally going to be some sort of dial corrosion and a frozen bezel. No problems here. The dial is a lovely matte blue, and it is the Snowflake design that bowed in the late 1970s. Now this, or excuse me, late 1960s. This model launched in 1975, the 9411, and again this one is serial from 1976. They were built through about 1980-1981 in this configuration. The Snowflake nomenclature relating to the form of the hands on the watch, and you can see that the lovely matte finish has remained largely intact, as there's no appreciable degradation, marking, oxidation, or tarnishing of this dial. Now it is all tritium of hands and dial, so you'll find that this one's dead as a doornail. There's no undue luminova glow. There is a vintage date disc within, and the watch, because it is a more modern caliber, internally it's an ETA. This was the second generation of ETA powered Tudor subs after the 7021 series and the 7016s. Now the watch has an ETA 2784 in their automatic winding 42-hour power reserve. It features both stop seconds and a quick set date and a 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, so it essentially functions like a modern movement. There are really no compromises in the operation of this one, and though the dial does broadcast a 200-meter test depth, I would recommend with a vintage timepiece allowing discretion to be the better part of valor and taking the plunge with a modern Tudor Black Bay, while keeping this one for your watch meets, the office, and those occasions when you don't necessarily need extreme hermeticity. Nevertheless, the watch does feature a Rolex triplock crown in outstanding condition. It is a screw-down format and still very secure. A handsome timepiece with a tank-tough tractor movement that will be serviceable forever. The important parts, the case, the bracelet, and the dial, all intact, original, and in the case of the dial, notably immaculate. See it and make it yours on the Watchbox.